Good morning. So today wanted to share the 2025 market forecast. Yes, I'm a little late in getting this video to you. I usually go to the presentation. It's usually in October. So data from this might be September. So I'll of course incorporate the updated information now that we're in January, and with that at the end of January of 2025. And of course, lots has happened. We got the new the elections passed us, new president, lots of craziness going on this month. So I'll kind of fill in some of the updates, but a lot of it's still pretty accurate as of right now. So with that, let's just kind of get into it. And so here's 2025 Wichita forecast. We've got WSU is the real estate department that puts this together. So it's the Kansas housing market forecast. There's several of these, by the way. There's Topeka and a few others, but I did pull, of course, the Wichita one, which is pertinent to ours. And this shows it's the Center for Real Estate, Wichita State University, the Frank Barton School of Business that puts this all together every year for us. And I kind of blew this up so you're not seeing it in a full page right now. So full circle this year, okay, 25th anniversary. So let's start here. Housing market across the state appears to be returning to the old normal. So this hasn't been seen before since the financial crisis in 2028. After years of turmoil, mortgage rates now seem to be settling into range we have thought to be ideal. So it's the 6%. If you talk to people in their 60s and older, they're like, oh yeah, it's way better than the 18%. 12% of their first house that they bought and stuff like that. So I actually one day went through the whole Excel spreadsheet to look at every year from 1970, I think is when they started tracking this data, or at least what I was seeing from our data, and to see all the interest rates. And of course, we've talked about this in sales meetings as well as, oh, I bought my house at 18%, so this is nothing. So yeah, I think people are getting the gist. It's not going to be the 2s and 3s of 2020 for quite some time. So if they want to move, this is where we're at. Can always refinance, as they say, if the numbers work out. You have questions on that, you can reach out to me. So after years of turmoil, mortgage rates now seem to be settling, like I said, into this ideal range. So the 6s to 7, and we'll talk more about that. While inventories of homes available for sale still remain quite tight, yes, we just don't have enough homes still. We're not there. Market conditions have become more balanced between buyers and sellers. And I'll tell you this, looking at the last couple months, let's say October, November, buyers, I didn't feel buyers were out that much. Funny enough, the stats, I haven't been really recording those lately because it's dry information, even though, again, this one's not going to be a viral video. It's actually data statistics. Very, for those that are like the numbers. But yeah, October and November, funny enough, the home prices kept going up, and then December went down. But like just from boots on the ground, I just felt the buyers weren't really out at that time. So just really slow market. So when I saw the actual data, I was like, oh, okay. The prices increased, but that's exactly what we're saying right here is, if there's not enough houses on the market and I'll say everyone wants the same one, the ones that are updated, take a mental note, sellers, it's worth getting some carpeting, the flooring, and with your price point, updated, and the paint to be fresh. Quicker sales, easier sales, and definitely higher sales with that for just those little things. Even though you haven't done it for yourself, makes sense. But again, when you go to sell, it's a good thing. But again, case by case scenario, talk to your agent. As the market comes full circle, it's our pleasure to bring you this 2025 Kansas housing market forecast series. And you can see that's Dr. Stanley Longhofer, who always does this. I thought he said last time he was retiring, but anyway, maybe soon. He's a director for the real estate at Wichita State University. That's just their sponsor saying thank you. All right, so let's start with the economic overview from a nationwide standpoint. Then we'll get into more of the the Wichita real estate stats. And there's some cool charts down further on this chart, and that's not a huge package to go through. So. And if you do want to see this in person, I can shoot it out to you. So just give me a holler. All my information, contact information, and all my videos at the description level below. So major economic certainty of the day is when the Federal Reserve will lower the short-term interest rates. How far will they drop? It's the National Economic Sorry, lost my place here. Nationally, the economic growth has slowed in recent months. We're still seeing that now, giving the Fed more impetus to act. At the same time, while inflation rate has dropped considerably from the high seen in 2022, it remains stubbornly above the Fed's 2% target. We'll see that later in this video. Housing inflation, the result of nearly 15 years of underbuilding, has moderated recently, but continues to help drive up the overall inflation number. Funny, we've been saying 10 years for a while now. I guess we're saying 15 years of underbuilding. And you'll see here in Wichita, I mean, duplexes going up all over, some apartment complexes, just again, because 2022 with the multiple offers, people really couldn't get into a house unless you had cash. Very, very difficult. Of course, the younger generation is very difficult to get into a house right now. So we're hoping to see that change in the next year. Probably not this year, but let's look at 2026 and after for that. So the Fed appears to be poised to begin lowering rates at the time of this writing. Pay attention to that part because a couple months later, financial markets expect the Federal Reserve to cut the short-term rates by 0.75% by the end of 2020. Of course, we're past that. However, it does not mean the long-term mortgage rates will fall by the same amount. Indeed, the Mortgage Bankers Association is forecasting the mortgage rates will fall slightly in the coming year, ending just below 6%. I don't know about that now. I'm even hearing in the data that I've been following, I follow various things and recently started following a crypto guy because banking's looking like it. Hearing stuff that crypto may be our future, not the physical dollar stuff we have. So I'm kind of watching that stuff. And he's a former real estate agent too, but of course he does way better in crypto. And then but he follows all the real estate, has a bunch of rentals. So I follow him, and he thinks it's going to go to 9 to 10%, double this year. He studies the market a lot. Because of the crypto stuff too. And he says that the Biden administration was giving false information so they can get elected. And so because of that, there's going to be a rebalance this year. And so he's thinking, as he's watching it, he's like, I'm seeing it going to go 9 to 10%. So keep that in the back of your mind. It's going to be interesting to see what actually pans out. Of course, the government's doing a bunch of stuff too. So a lot of craziness going on this January. I'll keep you updated on that. Mortgage Bankers Association is forecasting the mortgage rates will fall only slightly in the coming year, ending 2025. In our view, this is a good thing. Mortgage rates may be settling into the range we have always seen as consistent with health. Anyway, I see 6 to 7s. And like I said, I just kind of gave you a heads up of what this guy's saying. Could it be 9 and 10%? All right. So here we get to the charts. Employment growth. The green is the 10-year average. Monthly employment change, as you can see, up, down, and not looking so great here in 2024, going down. I think we're still going down from what the stuff I've been seeing on TV. I'm following stuff more than typical. I used to follow only the real estate stuff, but now I'm kind of trying to get the all of it. But I think because the changes I'm seeing is so much. So this is a little. Okay, so then here's the inflation. So we're seeing the housing inflation is the blue, the black line is the CPI inflation. So yeah, it was up. Now it's going down, so that's good. But here's where they said the 2% mark is. It's hovering above where the Fed wants to get there. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. Mortgage rates, 30-year fixed rate is the blue, and the MBA forecast is of course here. And like I said, so this is 6 and here's 7. I believe we're kind of up here right now as of the recording of this. So, I'm just going to say it's going to stay somewhere between 6 and 7. The last couple of years, we were saying it was going to go under 6, and look at that, never happened. And of course, like I said, this year is just a little harder to predict stuff just with all these changes going on. So I'm just going to say it's going to be 6 to 7. But again, I think people are just getting used to it because look, if you want to buy a house, this is where it's been the last couple of years with a little bit of a spike here in 2023, it looks like. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You can always what I kind of hear is when it goes down like a point, and I'm watching this for myself. But if it goes down a point, then you can refinance at that point. Just make sure you're staying in the house. Make sure that break-even number, it could be a couple years, possibly, depending on how much, because it costs to refinance. So let's say it's $1,000. Just make sure the break-even, talk to your lender. that you're staying in the house at least that amount of time. That's the gist. All right, continuing on. Home sales and construction. This is all flat, basically, from what I'm saying. Home sales activity has rebounded in recent months, continues to lag behind 2023 for the year as a whole. The recent drop in mortgage rates has brought some buyers back in the market, but limited inventory still is constraining the market. We project the Wichita area home sales will end the year down slightly and rebound in 2025, rising 2% to 9,550 units, 9,500 units. New home construction in the area strengthened slightly this year. That's good. Buoyed by the recent drop in mortgage rates, still permitting activity remains far below what will be needed to bring housing markets back into balance. Yeah, and I even heard something that there's some like ridiculous number about families living all together, and up to 34-year-olds, 20 to 34-year-olds were living with families. I mean, it's a new statistic. I can't remember where I heard it, but again, just since I'm not going to pull everything, I mean, some of it's on TV that I see, but again, just rounding out the information I actually have in front of me, just want to kind of let you know. So that it's not surprising because it's been so hard for youngsters to buy a house. And, it's the cash buyers that have been able to buy the last couple of years. Of course, in Wichita, we're a little bit better than the average, but still. So still permitting activity falls below. We expect total single family building permits will end the year virtually unchanged. Yeah. So about the 1,200 units activity should rise modestly in 2025. We'll see with that, because now the issue we're having is, of course, with the deportation going on, are we going to have fewer people to help build these homes with the illegal immigration deportation rush that's been happening, especially this January, since the 20th, actually. That's right. Inauguration only happened a little bit ago. Ending the year up 4.9% at 1,200 units. So that'll be interesting how that works out for Wichita. We're not the big city, so may not. Yeah, we'll see. Home sales activity. Okay, so pink is Wichita and then the U.S. So yeah, we're above the U.S. in all these years. Wichita total home sales, and I've got this total home sales for. Here we go. For this, that they were predicting, and since I already got these numbers now, it's actually 9,533. So 9,500 is actually where 2024 ended for us. And then that's the U.S. So we ended above the U.S. I'm not sure completely how to explain this, unless this is anyway. Well, I'm not. Okay, don't ask me how to explain that part. And then this is what they're predicting, which is almost literally what we ended up with this year, 9,533. So that so again, if that number does, that'll be flat for Wichita home sales. U.S. existing home sales in thousands. Okay, that's how to read that. I did go over this beforehand, but didn't really pay attention to that. I wanted to get the updated number, so I got to that. Okay, so new home construction activity, like they said, it's just going to be flat. Which the permits is Wichita Area Builders Association is where they get those numbers from, I believe. But 1,200. I mean, look, all of one down, same. So looks building permits are just going to kind of be the same. Again, it's going to be interesting to see how the deportation is going to affect any of the building here in town. May not, but might affect the bigger cities more. Demand for homes in the area continues to outpace supply. Yes, we've seen that. Although, like I mentioned, the end of the last couple, and again, the election years definitely stop a lot of the buyers. And I had someone, people specifically say that to me. Oh, we want to wait to see what happens, where everything goes. And so with that said, but I did feel the end of last year, like I mentioned earlier, was really slow with the buyers. So, but again, it seems slow right now. I mean, I need more houses for some buyers that I have right now. But it is January, so hopefully February, the inventory increases like it does every year. At the same time, buyers remain cautious in the face of higher home prices and financing costs, and appear willing to pass on homes they deem overpriced or less in perfect condition. That's always, if people are trying, and that really kind of comes just is it priced? Are you listening to your agent and pricing it like where they, if they're a full-time, follow the market agent, are they pricing it correctly? Because it doesn't mean it has to be in this greatly remodeled area idea. It just has to be priced accordingly where the person's like, just supply demand. And, but yeah, when you have a flipped house, so I always love that because that's more of a multiple offer situation in a certain price point. I mean, even at the higher price points, people just want gorgeousness and things done, even the lower price, just done in perfect condition. So if they're going to move into it, like they're going to move in for 10 years, they don't have to do anything right away, unless it's the AC, heating and air conditioning would, might be older or the roof. And the roof matters nowadays because the insurance is not paying out as much. And, if it's a 10-year-old or roof, you want to pay attention to that. Again, that's more details. Talk to me if we have questions on that. Despite the buyer reticence, home price appreciation remains quite strong due to the lack of supply. While we won't see the double-digit gains we had in recent years, we expect Wichita home prices will increase by 8% this year and another 7.7% in 2025. So here still keeps increasing. Here's the month supply. Wichita's in pink, Kansas in yellow, U.S. in blue. At least here's the trajectory is up, so that's great. We are getting more homes on the market. Home price appreciation. So as we can see, everything's been appreciating here. Unlike the bigger cities, they had some big downwards at times. I don't know, but yeah, we're going to keep appreciating as expected. It's just going to be lower. Like next year, they're predicting. Oh, I don't know where it ended. I didn't look at that number, but forecast. So next year, looking at 7.7. I'll have to go back and figure out what we ended at for home appreciation this year. So at least as nice sellers, you keep making a little bit of money. After falling for the past 2 years in the face of rising mortgage rates, home sales activities across Kansas has stabilized during the first half of 2024. Inventories remain tight, yes, in most markets, but higher home prices, yes, and mortgage rates are holding back buyers, making for a relatively balanced market. Yeah, even though it's not this 4 to 6, I think we're about 2 months of supply. I had it pulled up. I don't want to mess with the screen. So you can reach out to me and find out what that is. But it's making for a relatively balanced market. It does feel like a balanced market right now. Even somewhat of a buyer's market, actually, depending on which home. But when of course that will change as the season kicks in here shortly. We expect the sales across the state will fall slightly this year and then rebound in 2025. No, that did not happen. It actually increased because we were higher than the number, as I just told you, 95.33. And then they're expecting 25. And I will say everyone's kind of expecting next year to increase. Of course, hearing those interest rates, it's going to be interesting. Oh, and also, that guy that's predicting the higher interest rates, he's saying that it's going to be, as he's an investor, I mean, he wants to take his crypto winnings and, he buys a lot of real estate. So, if you're looking to get rentals or whatnot, if that does happen this year, then it's where you can buy houses at a bargain if that's what it ends up, which is of course not what this is saying. But again, I'm trying to, since it's end of January right now, I want to pull in all the data that I'm getting from all sources. So current inventory shortage is a result of 15 years of too little home construction. Yes. Especially at more modest price points. Unfortunately, high construction and financing costs make it difficult for move-up buyers to afford the types of homes we need to build in order to resolve the problem. The double-digit price appreciation we experienced in 21 and 22 now appears to have slowed. Nevertheless, limited inventories are still putting strong upward pressure on home prices in most markets, yes, across the state. We project Kansas homes will continue to appreciate above normal rates like we just saw on that chart above for the foreseeable future, rising 7.9%, followed by another 6% gain in 20. Yeah, so just prices are expected to keep trickling up, not the speed they were, but so then here's just Kansas, just the overview, forecast, sales and permits. We don't really need to go. I like to just really highlight what Wichita is. It just shows Kansas, at least the, homes for everybody keeps increasing. Again, just across the board. Home price appreciation is going to continue. in 2025. For Kansas, 6%, and that's the overall state. And so, yeah, so WSU Center, like I mentioned, thank them for this report for real estate, prepares a housing market forecast each of the major markets across the state. Again, I can get those to you if you want to see any of the others for kicks. And yeah, we do appreciate for sure them bringing out this information to kind of give us an idea best of their ability. And then here's the chart. Here's the chart that I really like. So yeah, and here's the cities that they do. So you see Kansas, Kansas City. Oh, this is frustrating. Lawrence, Manhattan, Topeka, and then here's Wichita. So these are all the data points that we talked about. Of course, I gave you the correct one on here, 9533, which is almost equal to what they're guessing for next year. But yeah, look at that. That was 12,020, the dates way at the top. This year, and then it went down to 10 to 9. So that just shows you how, few homes being sold right now due to various reasons. Building permits was higher these couple years because you look at how many houses were being sold, and then now it's down to the 1,200 range. And home price appreciation was 14, and then 11, and that's just the multiple offer year. I think that's 2022, 23, 24. No, that's 24, 23, 22, 21. Okay, so this one's 21. Home price, 14, that high, then 11, it's going down. So at least that's, it's not skyrocketing up anymore, but still, pricing higher than what the youngsters can afford. And here's the sales volume. It was 2.6, 2.5, 2.3. So that keeps going down. And then average price. And I would say the whole MLS average price that was a median price. I don't look at average prices. Median price is always what we've been told so it's more accurate of a measure of like in neighborhoods and stuff like that. And we are right here for Sedgwick, 245 if we're looking at Sedgwick specifically. But this, I think, looks at all of them. And I think I just looked the other day at the whole, like 203,000 was December though. So that wasn't an aggregate of the whole year. I'll have to look at those numbers and do another one on that. So anyway, I think that's about it. Let's just check. Yeah, this is just talking about the Barton School of Business who does this and then thinks all this. So let's go back to this chart. But if you would like this document, feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, if you're looking to buy or sell this year, share with others, can give a lot more data with what's going on. And I'll be keeping you up to date with what's happening in the market as we move forward with this interesting, like I say, I think we're a week and a half in after the inauguration, lots going on, and very interested to see what happens this year. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you got some data out of it. And again, reach out, Karen Wright, JPAR Leading Edge, and we'll talk to you later.